Okay, a new American law now grants the president unprecedented power to block access to cryptocurrencies. This just came out. The legislation measure is causing significant concern due to its vast implications and potential impact on cryptocurrency users. Now, with this law, the President of the United States can now exercise direct control over digital transactions. Uh, this is this is dealing with extended powers and implications that can occur now. The new law gives the president broad powers to block access to digital assets. Scott Johnson, this guy was talking about here. This came out in Coin Tribune. He's an influential voice in the crypto field, has strongly criticized the legislation for its considerable scope. And according to him, this new law could allow the president to prohibit access to any protocol or smart contract and deemed non-compliant by the Secretary of the Treasury. The scope of this measure is astounding and could force users to turn to KYC, Know Your Customer, and authorized chains. Now, Johnson expressed the concerns, emphasizing that the new law could trap users in regulated chains, thus limiting the freedom to use cryptocurrencies. It's hard to understand how this is not a presidential prohibition power at the user level. He was talking about highlighting the vast and potentially repressive implications of this measure. Now, under this new law, the president can actually block transactions between American individuals and foreign entities identified as supporting terrorist organizations. Now, this is just this is a ploy because they did this with the Patriot Act years ago when Bush came in office. Then they started to use it. They said they were going to use it for terrorism. They went in and started wiretapping lines for tax evasion matters. It's a bunch of bullcrap. This is how they go in and just infiltrate more into people's lives. And this Patriot Act was the most unpatriot act they could have come out with. It looks like they're just extending this thing out even further. But he was talking about here, he can also ban transactions through communication protocols, smart contracts, or software involving cryptocurrencies. Now, this could have profound consequences for cryptocurrency users. Now, Senator Warren's legislation move came out on June the 5th. A user of X revealed the apparent strategic insertion of legislation elements by Senator Mark Warner. Now, these elements grant the president new extended powers over digital assets. Warner introduced this legislation in December 2023, announcement allowing the Treasury Department to tackle emerging threats involving digital assets. They're going to throw everything in this. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be just for, it will probably be rarely used for things like terrorism. It's going to be used for financial, and we're talking about tax issues. This is why they're using it. The new, the law is going to broadly define digital assets encompassing any digital representation of value recorded on cryptographically secured distributed ledgers. This includes the communication protocols, smart contracts, or other software deployed using distributed ledger technology or similar. Now, this broad definition gives the president considerable leeway to intervene in various platforms and technologies. In addition to blocking transactions, the president can impose strict conditions on foreign financial institutions holding accounts in the United States if these institutions facilitate crypto transactions with entities supporting terrorist organizations. I'm going to tell you something. They're going to be going way outside that border. I'm telling you. Watch what happens. And they could freeze severe, they could face severe sanctions for this. Now, this measure aims to strengthen the control and surveillance of international financial flows. Now, Mr. Johnson analysis suggests that the law's broad application could actually force users to join blockchain networks compliant with KYC norms and authorized. Now, this development could limit users to regulated blockchains, thus reducing decentralization and autonomy elements that are central to cryptocurrencies. Now, Johnson, he's waiting for this measure, and it could be perceived as an attempt to exert control over cryptos under the guise of fighting terrorism. As I mentioned to you before, this is what happened during the Patriot Act. The elements added by Warner barred from the anti-terrorism financing law reinforce this perception. The new law could radically transform the use of cryptocurrencies, using or making users more vulnerable to government surveillance and control. While this measure aims to strengthen national security and combat terrorism, it also raises crucial questions about users' freedom and autonomy. The future of crypto under this new regulation remains uncertain, and only thorough and ongoing analysis will fully reveal its implications. Now, what I would advise you to do is, my whole thing is, if they're going to be hitting on tax matters and going through and doing wiretapping like they did on this National Security, the Patriot Act, my suggestion is don't be a U.S. citizen and don't be a U.S. resident. The key is to get out. If you're a U.S. citizen or U.S. resident, you need to, especially if you're a U.S. citizen, you need to relinquish your U.S. citizenship. I would try to get that done as soon as possible and get your money outside the U.S. Use a crypto firm that's outside the U.S. or just use your co-wallet. But you're going to have find a way to transact the business with somebody. So you're almost forced to use these crypto exchanges, but I would be using the ones that are outside the U.S. and then get out of your citizenship. It's that simple. If you want to know more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. If you want to legally get around high income taxes and how to get a second passport as quick as 4 to 8 months. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here. You get new videos automatically as they come out. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.